This interview is all about how to awaken your alpha. And no, we're not talking about pickup lines. We're not talking about how, you're increasing your dating game, but it's awakening your alpha in all aspects of your life, whether it's in your business or whether it's in creating the content that you want to see created, whether it's being the leader in your life, being the leader in your family, whether you're a male or female, it doesn't really matter. You can apply these same principles into awakening your alpha. And it's getting into that state that is ultimately going to give you the best results. And we all know it's about being completely zoned in. It's about tapping into that flow. And my guest is Adam Lewis Walker, who literally just wrote the book on Awaken Your Alpha. And this man has had some great stories. He's done the research. And over the last 4 years, he's done hundreds of interviews to be able to bring down the frameworks and the lessons. And that's what we dive into this interview. And we actually split it into 2 different parts. And so whether you're listening to this on the podcast or you're watching this, you're going to see that we up the production level just a little bit. So if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this, love for you to hang out in the comment section. Let us know. If you want to see more content like this, then please let me know so that we know to do more in-person interviews, and that is going to make everyone just a little bit happier. But here's the interview with Adam Lewis Walker on Awaken Your Alpha. I'll see you guys on the other side. What's going on, Changemakers? Jay Wong here, and I am sitting here today with this awesome guest. We got Mr. Adam Lewis Walker coming out with his new book, Awaken Your Alpha. And he is a longtime friend, podcaster, recent author, and I know he just happened to be in the same city as me, so we said...
Happened? I came for you.
You came for the interview.
That is actually the honest truth. Didn't I mess you? I literally said, over a 3-month period, I know you're in Toronto.
Let's do this interview.
Yeah, like when's good? Interview. And so we, made it happen.
It's a little bit hilarious. We're in a massive room here. We're sitting in the middle, huddled, getting a little close, getting to know each other a little bit.
Let's just say that someone's got a bit of a wire length issue.
Yeah. So Adam, you wrote this amazing book, Awaken Your Alpha. I had a chance to take a look through this. Big listener of obviously your podcast, and you've done how many interviews have you done on the podcast?
325 episodes today.
325 episodes today.
The bulk of them are interviews.
Okay. Over the last 3 years?
4.5 years, which makes me a podcast veteran in that field, which is always surprised me when I heard that. But and
so your podcast is called Awaken Your Alpha.
And I've got news for you.
Okay.
I know that's the test copy, but that is your copy.
Oh,
so,
look at this! Look at this.
It's not quite ready. It needs a little signature and stuff. But.
Yeah. We're going to get this done after. But for people that are maybe not familiar with your message of Awaken Your Alpha or your methodology behind kind of the movement that you have with this community, walk us through a little bit of what does Awaken Your Alpha actually mean?
Yeah. No, I get that question quite a lot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of the evolution to a TEDx talk, to then this book. I was going to say best-selling book, jumping the gun. And I'm not doing it for the best-selling thing. It is a legacy book. I wrote it squarely with my boys in mind. I've got 2 young boys.
Okay.
So Awaken Your Alpha is all about shining the brightest, you can with your time on this planet. And that's really from the solar system. The definition is the star that shines the brightest. From the animal kingdom, it's to achieve the highest level in a dominance kind of hierarchy, not dominance in an alpha, but it's to achieve the highest rank in areas that are important to you.
Okay.
Like if you don't care about it, then it's not me telling you, oh, you need to do this. The shine as bright as you can is really to unleash your full potential, to really realize what you're capable of. And I think it's the outside perspective and that comes from as well interviewing so many people who have literally just smashed it with the cards they're dealt.
Yeah.
As opposed to listing the reasons why it can't happen, or or they've had a tougher time than other people. So part of the reason that I'm so passionate about this book is yeah, you may not relate to me personally from my journey, but in this book, I purposely, people have inspired me, but also it's not one-dimensional. We've got multiple guys. We've got guys from Africa in there. We've got Americans, even a Canadian. We've got in there. We've got Englishmen. And we've got Englishmen.
I didn't make the
we've
cut.
got, I've missed out countries, but we've got lots of Australians. I love some of the blunt Australian, the way they put things across springs to mind in here. So something in here will strike a chord with you, and really, and that's the important thing, I think, in being a messenger and trying to inspire, as these guys have inspired me. So, and it's not just a random mishmash of stories. There is a formula, there is a process, there is a natural progression as you go through the book. And so that's why the guys are in the book. Tom Cronin, he was Australian actually. He puts it, very well, and it made the front cover. A must read for every man who wants to step up in their life with confidence and vision of being a conscious leader. And he's a sort of meditation master and founder of the Stillness Project, in doing huge things in Australia. And he's in the book when it comes to, we talk about, there are aspects of the book, we talk about the hustle and going after it, definitely, go do it, awaken your alpha daily. But then also, for people who are very ambition motivated in that way, there needs to be that stillness, there needs to be that recovery. And so it really goes through. I think it's a hard thing to do, and if I ever write another book, it will focus in one area or two areas very deeply, because it's really, it does cover the holistic approach, which is Awaken Your Alpha is all about that. It's not earning loads of money and not seeing your family. It's not, being in great shape and being broke. It's not, it's not sacrificing one core area of your life to, dominate and smash in another area. It's really making sure the core areas of your life that are important to you as well are covered, and a rising tide raises all boats.
So this is okay. I like what, like me and you were just riffing so much off the record, right? When we weren't mic'd up. But when you see the name like Awaken Your Alpha, a lot of times, like for me, I think of like dating, or I think of picking up, right?
I never.
And everybody kind of, I feel like everybody makes that assumption. But you're talking about Awaken Your Alpha in every other department of your life, like in business, with your family, stepping up in leadership, right? Like that's really the ethos of it.
And it never dawned on me, because you're not the first person to say that. There is zero dating advice in this book. I'll give you that. There's no pickup game. There's nothing of that.
Okay.
There's a mention, not a mention. There's relationships and family, and that.
It's part of it. It's part of the equation.
Intimate partner.
Right.
That is a piece of in here, but it does not go into depth in that area. It is that holistic approach. And in terms of, we can talk about the variation of. We touched on it as well. The featured guests in there, and it's not just they're from different countries. Well done. It's they're experts, or they specialize, or they're passionate in a certain field.
You've had some amazing people, highly proven entrepreneurs, New York bestsellers, millionaires. They're in, you're capturing all those stories.
Yeah, to give it the blunt example, money is it's a very dividing topic.
Yeah,
a lot of people have a lot of issues around that, and completely honestly, it's very rare you get one person who's got the best advice on every aspect of the jack of all trades, master of none. So when it comes to money, I have my viewpoints on it, but I'm going to pull from Cole Hatter. I'm going to pull from JB Crum. So Cole Hatter, Make Money Matter, Thrive event. I'm going to it next week and give him his copy. And JB Crum, the Conscious Millionaire, because they've gone deep in a certain area. And again, not just one-dimensional aspect of money. Yeah, it was a tricky balance to get there, and it took me way longer than I thought. But it was, as I say, I never approached this and there is a place for it as one of these, I'm going to write a book in 3 months type scenario books. This was the one that I had to. Well, copy number 1 had been called literally for about 2 years. My boy, who's a big reader. Sure. So it looks like you've got copy number 2 now. But
I qualified. Hey, and I'm honored. But let me ask you this, because I don't even know the answer to this question. I know we spoke at the same conference together a while ago.
what was your, I only know Adam, the Awaken Your Alpha guy, right? Like the podcast, the author, the guy that helps men and women step into their alpha. So who were you before you figured out some of these key components or whatever you call your alpha? Like, who were you before you figured out how to tap into that?
Say the one-word answer, I was a pole vaulter. And
okay.
So...
Are you saying all pole vaulters are not alphas? Like, what's going on?
In a good way, and I think any elite athlete has to be, to a certain effect, very focused and one-dimensional in that. I'm not saying, like an arsehole where you can't earn good money or you can't have, a good family life. But I mean, I tied my identity very tight to that pole vaulter.
To being...
identity and self-worth, which the issue was when it was taken away from me in a pole vault accident, pole vaulting in the rain, because in England it rains, and don't pole vault in the rain, it's dangerous enough as it is. It was taken away from me in all seriousness, literally at the peak, just, got a personal best that year after a couple of years of minor injuries and different things, operations. And I was lost. I was, that's what really, knocked me on my arse. And to a certain extent, it is that, what do I do from this point? I literally needed to awaken my alpha on a daily basis just to, and it got to, just to literally get out of bed and just battle through the day. And I think that's important. I think some of the fundamentals to get out of that dark place are the fundamentals you need to continue to, go beyond that. Once you're up to, surviving, a lot of people stop.
Right.
And it's that continuous cycle. Like when it hits the fan, you're against it, you're against the wall. Hopefully, you can dig yourself out, and that's when some of the fundamentals are more important. Then you don't do them because you feel like crap.
Right.
But as well, when you do them and you get yourself out, because you will eventually, may take a long time, did with me. You get to a certain point, you get comfy, and you stop. The majority stop, and then you maybe go down it, and then you come back and up it. But that's where we're talking about 1,000 tactics to thrive. Yeah. It's not like saying 1,000 tactics to be an antidepressant. And depression is covered in here. It could have easily been skipped. But again, to put that label on it, for 2 years I was,
Did you consider yourself depressed at that time?
I think that was, again, now we talk about you talk about formula, the whole first is broken up into 3 sections. The whole first section is awareness. And you're never going to get out of that kind of state without that painful realization, especially if you consider, if outwardly you consider yourself a certain level or like the alpha or whatever, or, everyone sees you as positive. That almost makes it worse. I was embarrassed to admit to myself that I was depressed. And that cycle of being embarrassed about, it's like a dirty secret, made me feel even worse. So it was a down, like I had no right. And I honestly felt like, I wasn't dying. I had a great supportive family around me. I had no right to feel as crappy as I did. But the issue with depression is, it's not like on paper what you should and shouldn't feel. The reality is how you feel for whatever reason. And it becomes important to, yes, there's going to be people who've had way worse things happen to you. There's going to be people who've had less bad things happen to them, but feel worse than you. It's not like an exact science, I didn't want to feel crappy. And it was not a quick fix. It's just literally that baby steps of, I think, ground zero, when you really, you hear people talk about, that ground zero. And for me, it was, and again, it can be very, minor it can look, but I know what ground zero was for me, because it was just a weird one.
But okay, let's break it down a little bit, because, there's people that are watching this, and there's people that are listening to this on the podcast, and they're saying, it certainly feels like I'm at ground zero, and it maybe I'm not at ground zero.
That's the thing. You might go, might bottom out, and
but it looks pretty bad, right? And I've had, it's not just one bad day. I'm having a string of bad luck, bad days.
If anyone's listening to it, that's the key, kind of, to being the difference to being down or having a bad day or being upset or just not feeling too good, to depression. When it's consistently, for no clear reason particularly, when you consistently have bad day after bad day. And I think a marker for me was like minor things, like I'm a big movie guy. I love my movies. When you get to a level where you can't watch a movie and, you know, escape to that. You literally can't watch a happy movie and enjoy it because you're too depressed. That's when I'm
So you were there.
Yeah. And
you were a little bit beyond the movie point.
That was, you know, because I love to watch a movie and, you know, a bit of escape is a nice mental break. But that's when I'm like, geez, this is, and when, as I say, when you've got string up, and the breaking point to me, because again, if you can't admit it, you kind of stuck in, no, I'm all right, you know, and I think other people close to you can tell. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like
that you're not you.
Yeah, and if
you're not so tapped in.
It's weird you have to put a big effort just to kind of be normal.
Right. It's exhausting, probably.
Yeah, not to even like be, you know, thriving, just to literally kind of get it to the average, what you'd think of, like, so people won't notice. And it is exhausting. And my mum, I think, you know, at the time I was literally professional rehab I had like 3 operations in 2 years on crutches for literally the whole time.
Wow.
I was a very active guy, and I quit my job just before starting going full-time in my business, which was like youth strength and conditioning and like lots of academy type stuff. And she just rung me up in the middle of the day because, you know, everyone's off doing stuff that adults do in the day, and I'm at home. And she just called me up. I was feeling like crap. She just called me up randomly. I think she could tell. She go, are you okay? And I was literally, again, I lied, kind of just said yes, barely could keep it together to what I thought was front out, put the phone down, that was that. And just as I put the phone down, just broke down, lost the plot. And 5 minutes later, she turned up on the doorstep. She could obviously tell, and I was just like a mess. You had to surrender, like this is not okay, this is not like, this is not, I'm feeling off a bit. This has been, you know, it took a long while to get down that low, and it took a long while to get out. Yeah. But I think that's the thing. You don't just, you know, and so anything that comes through in this book is, it's about that small daily actions. And I want people to take actions. There's not like, well, there's 31 actions in the book, so I don't want you to read something. Oh, that sounds nice in theory. There's instantly, right, do this small thing. And that's why I want people to do these or to do the ones that, you know, resonate with them, or if they, you can jump in at this book at any point, but also there is, you know, an order to it. But I really want it to have an impact.
So let me ask you, you're in this, you know, you're breaking down emotionally. You're in a place where, you know, I think we've all been there to some degree, right? We've all have felt like we're not ourselves, you know? So what do we do? Like how do you mentally say, hey, I'm gonna get there? Right? Yeah. Is it like what's the methodology? How did you view it? How did you do it? And then what's the best way? You've worked with so many different men around the world. Like what's the best way that you typically recommend? Like what's one thing that, you know, like they can do? Because I know there's 30, you know, this book is a great resource, but, you know, for someone listening to this right now, like maybe they're going through this moment. Yeah,
right? I know it's a key thing in here, and it says it in the book, you know, there is... this whole book it's not one size fits all. And I think that's important, because I didn't want to say, oh, this is how you do it. This is, you know, these are some proven strategies and tactics that other people have used. And I think anyone I've put in there, I've either personally experimented or used with, or I believe in as well. Out of all the subjects in there, the depression one is the kind of the biggest one that kind of, it's open to interpretation as well. And I think, you know, what works for some person doesn't work for another. But I think important for me personally, if we're going to go on that line, just for an example, the physical side of things, you know, getting that routine. So just the basics, start with a building block of, you know, a very basic, you know, going and doing some exercise. The smallest thing, when you're feeling like, I mean, especially me, I would say, you know, go to the gym or do something like full on train. I've never been like out of shape, but I felt like absolute crap, and it's the last thing I felt like doing. I had a friend recently, and he was kind of down there, and it's okay. Just looking at what you're doing. So bare minimum, it's the consistency as well, though. So if you are really down there, and you may be doing this already, but for example, simple things like go for a 20-minute walk every day, one in the morning. So it's not like I don't want to go to the gym, or I don't want to do a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk, a 5-minute walk to start with. But it's that just get out the door, commit to something like that. And the problem with all this, what we're talking about, when it's coming from this kind of scenario, you know, when I'm not in that place now, full transparency, but I am proactive when I feel myself, because as I say, it was a long slope. I feel myself, you know, if you ever feel yourself going down, everyone has a wobble, then I feel like I've got tactics in there to, like, you know, be very proactive on. But I think it's start with a physical movement is huge. I think the support and talking about it, especially in men, don't talk. You know, the suicide rates in the UK especially are just ridiculous. And it's male suicide is directly linked to, obviously, depression. And I think it hugely comes down to not talking about it. And, you know, guys bottle stuff up, me included. So I think,
me too.
Yeah, I think
every guy understands that, right?
Yeah,
I
think
just social conditioning.
Yeah. And again,
you know,
I don't think this is impressive talking about it now, because I did not talk about it when I was down there. That was the issue which kept me down there longer. So I think we talked about this surrendering to it, and you feel like it helps. You've got to first admit to yourself, and then again, only if you know, if you've had a few days you're feeling down, so I'm depressed. You don't, you know, it's up to you what you do. But I'm saying, if it's really bad, you need to seek some kind of help, whether it's, you know, just speaking to someone. It doesn't have to be a professional, but you need to let other people know. Because I mean, the list of, you know, high-profile actors and people who appear that they've got it all, especially for men, then they commit suicide, and everyone around them like, why didn't they say something? Or I would have done this if I'd known. And the support is there, but it's too late then. So I mean, you've got to talk. You've got to put it, and that is not easy. You know, again, I did it when I did it, but if I'm tracking that of when did I start to get better, it was that, you know, letting the ego go, because you still even have an ego there. You know, what will people think? You know, and especially there's massive stigma attached to depression. You know, if you're a professional in a job, if your work finds out about that, you know, my medical records still have depression listed it. When I moved to the States, like, they do things differently here, and I'm like, this was like,
we're in Canada, by the way.
Oh yeah. but this was like 8 years ago, really, the rock bottom. And I see my information for, like, getting just a normal checkup. I see it staring me in the face. It's like open and I'm like, and oh yeah, it's just kind of, and it's got about depression. I'm like, geez. So, and in terms of, you feel like people are going to look at you differently. Or if you were employed, thank goodness I'm not, but if you were employed, how do the stigma attached to that? And people don't want to, you know, don't want to make things worse. And it's, you know, and when people ask you that, you know, oh, how you doing? Majority of times it's a generic question in terms of they don't want to know the real answer. It's just small talk. It doesn't mean any depth.
They're just going
through. If you turn around and said, you know, not good, no, really not good, and you watch them scatter. So it's there. You know, there is a big stigma attached to it. That's true. So again, if you're going for anything like that, you know, as I say, I think a lot more people do than is known at some point, and you only hear about a lot of high profile or when it's too late. Because again, even if you've gone through it and come out the other side, a lot of times people, you know, it's very easy in this position to kind of skim over it. Because you might see it as a weakness, but I do think some people are more susceptible to it than others, yes. Some people might think, oh, that wouldn't happen to me, but I do think anyone has the potential, given the right, or the wrong set of circumstances. Just that perfect storm of you think, oh, this bad thing's happen, okay, I can be positive, get through that. This bad thing, you know, in a time scale that's quite close. There's no science to it, but once you're down there, you know, it is hard to get out. And that's when you've got to awaken your alpha.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed part 1 of the interview. I'm curious, what was your #1 takeaway so far? If you have any takeaways, would love for you to share it in the comment section down below. Part 2, as well as the links to Adam's book, Awaken Your Alpha, is listed in the description box. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. If you like this video, go ahead and press the like button. If you love this video, go ahead and subscribe.